Welcome to Get Big Out Loud Radio, where we explore living the complex, funny, and beautiful ride of life with me, Kari Knutson, and Dr. Pat on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Are your thoughts keeping you small? Are you ready to get big? I will offer you ideas to transform what you are thinking into conscious action. Explore what is keeping you small and how to shift your behaviors in order to get big. Learn what is possible for you. Get ready to get big and live life out loud starting now.
Hey, everybody, I'm Dr. Pat, and I get to take this complex, funny, and beautiful ride of life with the most incredible Kari Knutson. Today, we're taking on something that is so important. Little wins. Now, I know, like, if you're thinking about this, okay, Kari's going to be like, here she goes. If you're thinking about this and you are with me now and I'm on the East Coast, you're thinking, how did the Philadelphia Eagles lose that game? Or if you're on the West Coast, you're cheering for the 49ers. Or if you're a part of the pop culture scene and you watch the Golden Globes, you're asking yourself, I don't even know who that actor was that won. But what if you didn't win, but you were nominated? Is that a little win? Can you hang on to that? How about your life? Today, Kari is going to walk us through what I like to call the chain of events when it comes to winning. Thank you, Charlie Sheen, for the rant you did when you were at your worst in life and you popped out of that door and all you kept saying was winning. Why? Because for you at that moment, based on the condition you were in, based on where you were in your life, walking out that door and waving was a little win. Kari, thank you for this topic, because we don't want a little win. We don't even know how to appreciate a little win. We
want to go all the way. We want the big thing. We want the finale. We want the award. We want to give it to me, right? Yes, I've been thinking about this so much and how we are conditioned in our society. Just go keep your eye on the prize. What's the big goal? And then, like, you can finally feel good only if you reach the goal in the amount of time, in the way you thought, and how unrealistic it is, first of all, to think that way, but then how defeating it can be, because sometimes the journey to get to the goal is totally different than you thought. But also, when we're on the journey, why can't we appreciate the little wins? And I was really thinking about that a lot this month. Like, what would it take to be able to see the journey as part of the goal? And who are we becoming versus who are we achieving? And so that's what I wanted to get into today is, what we're all striving for different things, especially in the new year. This came up because it always happens in the new year. What's your goal? What's your resolution? What do you want to change? And how many people give up by February is what they say. I don't know what percentage of it, but I was just
it's
thinking
big.
yeah, it's enough to be defeating. And the idea just came to me around, what if we could shift what it means to reach a goal or what it means to celebrate along the way? So that's what I wanted to set up today, what it means to have little wins and to talk about that concept as a way to help us reframe our goals and a way to reframe to who we are becoming as we reach those goals.
And I think this is important. I've been using a phrase, and I'd like you to tie it in if you could for a minute. But I've been using a phrase a lot on air recently, I guess since the first of the year. And I said, this year is about moving the needle, right? Now, I realized I had to explain that, right? What I mean by moving the needle. Right? What does that mean? I'm not talking about a physical injection, but a needle. Let's say you're turning up your thermostat, right? And you're sitting in your house and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in Linda's house now. So the temperature is going to be 69. And you wake up and you turn it up 1 degree because I want to simply move the needle. What do I mean? I want to see movement in the temperature of the house. I want the temperature to go up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
See, we don't think about that We don't think about, so let's talk about this from where you sit, right? How do little wins help us, Kari, to become?
Yes, well, and that's such a good way. I love the analogy, move the needle, because you could move the needle for those of us old enough to remember record players, how the needle moves things forward, and also needle the thermostat, right? The needle. Even when you're sewing something, moving the needle, you have to do one stitch at a time. You can't like, that's a really good analogy, moving the needle, whatever needle that may be for you. But the idea is, if you could think about how we typically frame our goals, like I want to do this. Let's say you want to have you want to pay off debt and you want to have a certain amount of, you want to pay off a certain amount and have a certain amount in your bank account. So you're going to make certain things. Okay, what can I do to pay off my debt or get more money or have more money in my bank account or whatever? You're going to make a plan and you're going to set your goals. And the idea is sometimes we look so far to like, okay, well, when I pay off the debt, then I'll feel relief or freedom or happiness or satisfaction. But what we don't do is step back and be like, okay, along the way, am I making changes around? Maybe I start to set up a budget. And maybe I totally blow it the first week. But then the second week, I'm like, okay, I'm going to start paying more attention. And then maybe the third week is kind of half good, half bad, whatever you want to say. And then the fourth week, I'm back at trying again, right? And then probably the fifth week or sixth week, you're like, oh my gosh, I set my budget and I stuck to it. Or I was able to say no to going out and I cooked dinner 2 nights at home because I knew I wanted to go for that goal. And then you start seeing these little changes around, oh, maybe I'll call up my credit card company and see if I could get a lower rate. And you start thinking things like that. And like, all those things along the way are leading to paying off debt, right? But if you just wait to say, oh, I finally paid off that debt, you wouldn't see the person you are becoming along the way. The person that budgets, the person that's able to make some different decisions about where their money goes, the person that has curiosity and tenacity to think about, can I call the company or can I get a reduced rate on my credit card or whatever it is you're going to do. It's the idea of along the way, if you could recognize that as an achievement, not just, oh, I paid off my debt, now I feel really good about myself. Because sometimes we postpone feeling good or successful until we reach the end. And then what happens is, let's say you mess up, and so whatever way we mess up our goals, right? We tend to be like all or nothing. I either didn't or I didn't. And then we feel if we mess up, then we're just defeated. And then we might quit. And the whole idea is if you had a little win, you could just make, I'd say, like, take the time frame, like, here, like, well, in this period of time, what could I celebrate? And what if you said everything counts? What if you thought everything counts? So the fact that I checked my bank statement, the fact that I wrote down what I spent, the fact that I did make dinner at home one night or didn't order drinks, dinner, and a dessert because I wanted to save some money. Whatever it is, whatever the thing is that you did do, because most of us are doing something towards our goals. We're not doing just nothing. But what I think stops us is this all or nothing mentality. I either did it or I didn't. I either can be happy because I was successful or I can't do anything until I get there. Also, nothing counts unless it's the end goal. And notice it's not overt that people are saying this. I don't have anyone who said you can't celebrate to the end. I think it's a construct that we set up around the big flashy finale. And even when you see, I think this is so interesting, when you see people's before and after pictures of losing weight, they only show before and after. They don't show during. And then we all want the magic of I want to wake up tomorrow and have that. So then you don't see the months and months and months, and you don't see different decisions and choices that they made or what they did differently. You see, before it was like this, then magically after I was like this. And it sets something up in our mind that we don't talk about the journey.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again and again, and I see this in like goal setting classes, and when we talk about our goals and our wishes and desires, we talk about what we want, then how we're going to get there, and then we don't always check in the journey, and we also don't celebrate the journey because the achievement seems more worthy than almost the identity. Who am I building as I'm becoming this person? Who am I becoming on the process? And I just want to say one more thing about this. Any story you read about, I'd say, the hero's journey, like I'm thinking about The Alchemist right now. And it's a story which is such a great book, and I won't give too much away, but the idea, the reason I wanted to tell about it is the person starts on a journey here, goes on a journey for various reasons, learns a lot about himself, and then comes back to the same place. A totally different person. This is another, Siddhartha is another great example of a book with a
Yes.
person who starts on a journey here, does all these things and ends up, and you have changed because of the journey, not because the goal. And sometimes your goals change along the way. So if you could see this in story after story about who we are becoming along the way, and I wanted to use this opportunity to really talk about the small wins of the journey. And I wanted to bring up a few things too, just in case we think of, okay, why do I not celebrate the journey? I have a few ideas about why we don't do that and how we think, but I'll take a pause
Yeah.
from my ideas.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Look, I grew up as an athlete from a very young age, softball, etc. And I don't know how, as a young woman, I was introduced to how important it is for bodybuilding. Because back in the day, no, women were not doing it. But I worked with a trainer who was out of California, knew Schwarzenegger as a bodybuilder, and he taught the Schwarzenegger method. Now, what does that mean? Arnold Schwarzenegger, it doesn't matter what you think about him as a man, but the guy would work on the muscle inside the muscle inside the muscle, the teeny little weeny teeny weeny muscle that he couldn't see. But I have his encyclopedia of exercising and workouts, and he would pinpoint something and he would watch how that grew. Now, some people say he was the most incredible bodybuilder ever, that there was, I mean, everybody's got an opinion. But he got to be where he is. Why? Because of the smallest movements, the smallest adjustments. Same thing in his acting career. Never had to say too much of a word in Terminator. But then by the time he got to act with Jamie Lee Curtis in a comedy, he was a different man. Now, why am I bringing that up? It requires patience, doesn't it? What does it require, Kari?
Oh, I love that you
What
brought it
does
up.
it require?
Get what it requires. This is such a good point because the muscle inside, the muscle inside, like concentrating on the thing you can't see, what that actually is doing is helping you think bigger than like what I'm showing. It's what I'm building. And so maybe what you're building is some of the ideas, I think is maybe what I'm building, the muscle between the muscle, the thing I'm trying to show the world versus what I'm building is I can be resilient. Maybe that's what you're building, like in mentally, like I have the capacity to change. Maybe you're building that thinking pattern. Maybe you're building the thinking pattern. I was like, I'm not going to give up. I'm a person. Maybe your identity changes. I'm a person that keeps going even when it gets hard.
Yeah.
Maybe what the muscle behind the muscle and thinking is, I'm a person that can be consistent, even though I can't see results yet. I know this is doing something good. Right? I know it's better, working out's better than sitting on the couch. I know that much. Right? So maybe the idea is like what it's telling me, the muscle behind the muscle is the thought patterns that are changing as who I think I am. And you cannot see those things. You feel those things and you think those things, but it's hard. I can't just jump to, hey, Dr. Pat, guess what? I'm a person who's practicing being more consistent. Or guess what? I'm a person that's not going to give up. We very rarely we're going to say that to someone else, but you will see those behaviors in me. That's what you will see as a result of starting to change your thinking patterns. And that idea of like, you're saying the muscle behind the muscle is really our internal thinking patterns about who am I because of this process. And when we think about our identity, it really is important because we all have things about ourselves that we say to ourselves, what we believe to be true. And sometimes we have to think, is me is me being on the journey helping me to say to myself, I am becoming a person who doesn't give up.
Yeah.
I am being a person who can defer gratification and believe in the process of where I'm going, right? So
Yeah.
these kinds of things are so valuable in our thinking patterns as we start to change from just I'm going towards the goal and if I don't reach it, then that's it. Again, who am I becoming along the way? A person who thinks about themselves in a different way. We're shifting that identity underneath what you can see as a really powerful force for transformation.
Okay, so I got to throw something at you, and you got to walk me through the little wins and what they show us. Because here's where I am. I made a decision to move back to New Jersey, right? Now, I didn't bring all my stuff. I'm not changing my residence yet because I'm not sure neither one of us is going to stay here. But I made that decision and it was perfect. It was the right decision to make. I don't want to get into the whys. Energetically, I'm really intuitive. I know when things are right. I don't second guess myself. The move went perfectly. Everybody that showed up, even the junk, even the hello, you people, I got junk. That is a great organization. They saved my life. Even dialing them wrong. I didn't mean to dial them. On the day of the move, Saturday, we had to be at a hotel and we were nowhere near done. But why am I bringing it up? The move went perfectly. Everything fell into place. What didn't I anticipate? Here you go. You ready? This is where the little wins right now are so important for me. I moved back, and both of us, Linda and I, are adjusting to making the home. She hasn't been here in a while, but making this home the way we want. So every day, it seems we're tearing apart a room. I know you're laughing, right? We're organizing a closet. And this is my office to be. It's not done yet. But the way it is a little win for me right now. My life had to be adjusted. Why? I'm on the West Coast. I am up at 5, 3, 2 in the morning. I am ready to go. I am on the East Coast now. That same algorithm doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of trying to get up at 2 and 3, I'm taking the little win, 5 o'clock. I just didn't account for the adjustment. Now, walk us through what these little wins show, because that little win for me showed me I'm not a failure because I can't operate the way I did. What it's showing me is what are the opportunities that I didn't see under my own lifestyle pattern before that I can now see. Maybe, Kari, I don't know, help me out
Yeah,
here.
no,
Come
I want
on.
to help you.
Come
No, I
on.
want to, I totally do, because and I wrote this down, so I'm looking, want to make sure that I say this right, because I had this idea around like what the little ones can show us around a positive cycle, right? A
Yes.
positive cycle if we pay attention to them. And your example is so perfect, right? Because when we think about, okay, if I can, okay, I'm sorry, I got to make sure I do this right because I want to make sure that I say it the way I want to say it. So if you have an intention, right? Like we're gonna do this move. And I didn't say a positive intention, but like I gotta move across the country, right? I'm gonna make it happen, right? Not a positive intention, like I'm gonna change my life or I'm gonna get a grad degree or whatever. It's like I need to make this happen. My intention is to move across the country. And then you can show some consistency around like today I'm doing this, then I'm calling these people, and you cannot give up when it gets hard and when it goes planned. So if you keeping going as part of that. So I call it the consistency part. So I have an intention and I'm keeping some level of consistency towards the goal. Even though there's no way you keep like I
Yeah.
moved, I'm set up, I'm all done, right?
Yeah.
Like it's more messy almost at the beginning because you're switching so many things. It almost gets worse because you think, I feel like this is such a good analogy. You know, when you're cleaning a pan, the cleaning process makes it worse. So you put the soap, it's all has whatever you cooked on there, and then you start to scrub and scrub, and then it's the grease and the water and the bubbles from the detergent, and then it's a mess. And I keep thinking most of us give up when we're like, oh my God, this is a mess. And we
Oh
can't
my
keep that
gosh.
consistency piece. Like, I'm just gonna keep scrubbing. I'm just gonna keep going, right? To get to the better part, right? And so this is true with your move. It's so great. So again, I have an intention. I'm gonna keep some level of consistency, even when it's messy. I'm gonna show up. Half of it is just showing up for something, right? Show it like, and maybe you don't do the whole room, but maybe you unpack a box. That's a win. And then you tell yourself, that's a win. That's a win, right? And then you keep seeing the things around you that are wins because that builds your confidence to keep going rather than the idea of like, oh my God, look at this room, it's such a mess. I haven't done anything. Did you do a box? Did you get this out of the way? Did you move this thing around? Did you call somebody to come pick up your other stuff? It's a win. That's mean everything gets to count because psychologically we need those wins to keep going. Sometimes the defeat isn't in the situation, it's in our minds. Like
Yeah.
I'm defeated because I didn't do enough or it's not fully finished. I can't celebrate until I'm done. And then we don't get done and then we're like, well, I'll never get done. So that's the first part of that. And then from there, when you can do the little bit of consistency, that confidence then builds. You get more confidence to keep going, and confidence not just in like false confidence or like, look at me, I'm so proud. It's like I did something, I could probably do something else. I did this, so I could probably do that. It's the confidence that comes from a reality check. Am I doing something? Yes. Could I do some more? Yes. Like, so your brain needs that. And then from there, you get resilience when the tough stuff happens. When you feel
Yeah.
like, when you know, you got all kinds of things thrown your way, especially with you thinking about your timing, your East Coast, West Coast timing. You've got to be resilient to figure that out. You've got to find something in yourself that finds a way to change your schedule or figure that out so you can continue to make this move successful. So then you tap into the things that make you resilient to get through hard things because you have confidence to try, because you have confidence because you didn't give up yet. So there's the next psychological piece. And then the final piece of this is you start to change your identity because you are now a person who can move across the country and do it successfully. You're now a person who counts that your office is in the process of getting set up. So even if it's not up some completely, your identity is I'm a person who's resilient enough to move across the country, set up my office, make the time change, and make this move work. And you become to that person, your identity starts to shift,
Yeah.
not related to, oh, I achieved the goal. It's like, look what it took to get me to the goal.
Yeah.
And then you tap in all those amazing things that got you there. And that's what I think this cycle can build if we start to think about, I'm going to celebrate the small wins and everything counts. Everything counts.
I love that because Linda said to me, so I'm on a different time schedule. I'm doing things now I didn't have time to do. So now in the morning, we are 3 hours ahead of most West Coast, whatever, right? So now when I get up early, I'm not rushing. I mean, I was getting up at 2, 3 in the morning and going through hundreds of emails, right? I'm not doing that now. And it's because somehow in my consciousness or somehow in the energy of this, I'm allowing myself to get up and have a cup of coffee and watch something spiritual before I even open up my emails. And I would have never done that. Now, do I consider that a small win? Yes. Now, Linda said to me something interesting today. She said, we need to get to work. And I just looked at her like, why?
Because that's what we're supposed to do.
Because that's what we're supposed to do.
That's what we're supposed to do, right? And so you have to tell yourself, like, can I still? I bet, Dr. Pat, if you think about it, you probably more productive because you took that hour to,
Yeah.
take care of yourself and do something spiritual, and then get on your day than just fully let's get to work, right?
Yep.
That little bit of like I call it take a step back to take a step forward, like taking a step back to reframe it and be like, look at me taking this hour for myself. Look at me feeling good about it. I'm feeling guilty. Look at me changing my priorities. Look at me being a person who's motivated to do this so that I can be more prepared to do this. Like, look at you changing. That's what I'm talking about.
And here's the eerie part of it. So I listen to the Gayatri mantra. I am very eclectic when it comes to my spiritual practices. I pretty much include everybody, including listening to Rabbi Ted. And so this morning I'm listening to Joyce Meyer. What do you think Joyce's little talk this morning was about?
Moving to the East Coast.
Don't give don't actually she did talk about something like that in her original story, right? She was told to another day for that. But it was don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. I want to talk to you about this because where do we deny ourselves for sake of perfectionists? And I want to take a short break, and when we come back, I want to talk about this because I think there are some things you must. If you're building an airplane, I'm just saying, you're building an airplane, Perfection is really what you have to achieve. Yeah. You understand? If you're a surgeon, perfection is what you want to achieve. However, it's not perfection alone. You know, as a surgeon, as perfect as your skills are, there's some days you have to pivot. When you're building an airplane and you see something that should perfectly fit and it doesn't, do you cram the thing in there or do you hit the pause button and say, engineers, this ain't gonna fit? Let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the beautiful twins of perfectionist and procrastination. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Pat. I'm here with the most amazing Kari Knutson. The show is Kari Show. Get big out loud. It is living the complex, funny, and beautiful ride of life. Before we continue, Kari, because it's going to get really cool now. It's going to get really popped up. It's going to be an amazing. But before we do, how do people find out about you? Because right now, we are in the mode of overachieving to failure. Overachieving to failure. You see that? Isn't that like a little oxymoron thing? See, we're overachieving, but to failure. And people, I get in so much trouble when I use the word failure. What I mean by failure is we get to the point where overachieving and we're not getting to the place where we want to go. So our mind tells us we have failed. And we don't recognize that along the way, we have achieved a few things because what did we do? We had a little win. So how do people find out about you to help them? Because if you want to be a speaker, you better get used to little wins.
Right. Well, it can help us so much along the journey. It can help us so much. So you can reach out to me at knutsonspeaks.com. I'm on social media at Knutson Speaks. It's Knutson Speaks with an S. And all my information is out there on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and my website.
Yeah. So many of you out there have heard the acronym PCP. Okay. We have got it, but it's this: perfectionism, comparison, and procrastination. They are the trifecta of agony, right?
Yes. Yes. And that's why it's so important to bring up, because if you can name them and you can see them like crop up in your life. So when you think of let's talk about the first one, perfectionism, because that connects to procrastination so easily, right? So perfectionism is this idea that I have to do it perfectly or it doesn't count. It has to be, it can't be really, really good. It can't be all right. It has to be perfect. So sometimes we won't even start something if we don't think we can do it perfectly. Or on the way, if we haven't done it perfectly, it doesn't count. And so here's an example I always love to give about this. If someone says to another person, "Oh, I like your shirt. That's a pretty blouse." Notice how many people, the first response, "This thing? I can't even tell if this situation, like I got it at a thrift store. I feel like it's weird how it bent, how it looks here. I don't even know this color's gonna be," or whatever. We say everything that's wrong, right? We say everything that's wrong. And then the person's like, "Well, okay, I guess your shirt isn't cool." Like, and it's what we kind of do with our lives. When people say, "Hey," or even if life shows us, "You're doing good, you're making progress," or someone says, "I think this is good," or "You did a great job." We said, "But see what I didn't do? See what yeah, you think I did a good job, but see what I didn't do?" It's the same thing as pointing out why we're not cute in our outfit. Instead of just saying thank you, we say, if someone says, "You did an amazing job with your podcast." "Oh my God, I missed my timing here. I didn't talk about this topic. I wasn't sure, but my write-up was okay. Did I look weird? Did I frame myself? Was I leaning too much?" Like we just say whatever we did wrong instead of saying, "Thanks, I'm glad you enjoyed the podcast." Because we wasn't perfect. And we're not overtly thinking that. It's a subconscious, to me, like, but it's like a bulldozer, a subconscious bulldozer behind us being like, "Stop, you can't accept the praise until it's perfect." And lots of us will never achieve perfection. So what we have to say is, was it good enough? And there's a quote that I love to say: "Perfect is the enemy of good. Sometimes it is good enough." And if we can think about that, we will then tend to start and keep going. We will also tend to say, when people give us compliments, we'll just say thank you. Or when we try something new that's scary and it wasn't perfect, but at least we tried, we'll say, "Good try," to ourselves. And so this then connects with procrastination because many of us want to do the thing and say we want to get the thing done. And at the same time, we want to do the thing, what our brain pops up for us is like, well, that's going to be really hard. And you haven't done that before. And that's going to require some new things of you. So why don't you clean out your junk drawer instead? Because that needs organizing and you can feel successful at that. Have you ever noticed when you're like procrastinating, you find like suddenly the bathroom needs to be cleaned, like from top to bottom, or your junk drawer needs to be empty, or you got to delete all those emails in your trash folder, whatever, because you just can't. You want to do something you can achieve, and your brain's offering up a way to control the uncontrollable. I can clean the bathroom. I can do the junk drawer. I can delete my emails because I'm doing something, but you're not doing the thing that you want to do, so you're procrastinating. And there's another quote that says procrastination is the devil's playground. When you find yourself procrastinating, think about your brain offering up, here's all the things I'm going to do to distract you from the real thing because you're scared or you can't do it perfectly. So you're not even going to try. And instead of being judgy with yourself, like, oh, I'm just a procrastinator and I can't do anything, try being nice to yourself and being like, hey, I know what's going on here, brain. Thanks for the heads up. I'm going to try something different. So you're offering up some other things to keep me in my safe zone. I appreciate that. Also, brain, you're saying to me, it has to be perfect or it's nothing. I'm going to just step back a minute and say, I'm going to try. It doesn't have to be perfect to be really, really good. And then you can just consciously make a different decision instead of being run by these unconscious forces that your brain sets up, right? And that is so important because those two things. So we've got, first of all, we think about being perfect, and then we've got procrastination keeping us from doing the thing. Then if we can get through those things, the third thing that comes up is comparison. So let's say we want to try something. And let's say I'm looking at you, Dr. Pat. Oh my gosh, she's hosted a million podcasts. She's so successful. She can move to East Coast, West Coast. She knows about ping pong and sports and the Golden Globes, things I don't know anything about. Oh my God, I'll never be
And Schwarzenegger.
Right? And Schwarzenegger, I never did the muscle behind the muscle. I don't know any of that stuff, right? So you have such a different skill set than I have. And what we normally do is when we compare up the chain. So we look up to people and then we say, oh, I'll never be that. So I'm just a. And we then see what we don't have instead of what we do have. And so it's important too to think like we can compare all day long. And what it would be better to do is like, look at all these skills you have and how amazing you are. And I have some things too that I'm amazing at. They don't have to be the same things for us both to have value or worthiness. And also, what can I learn from you? How can you inspire me? And what do I have that I'm helping people learn and be inspired by? Right. And just because the idea of comparison, I would have never even started this podcast if I thought I had to be like you. If I thought I had to, like, I may have never even have thought I could do this if I had compared myself, right? And then I would start getting into imposter syndrome and who am I to try and then perfectionism. Do you see that it's called we have different spirals, but this is definitely a thinking spiral around that just takes us back down to not even trying.
Yeah.
So notice this when it gets served up to you. I want people to be able to think about, am I comparing myself to others and then I lose and then I don't try? Right? And then there's the quote, comparison is the thief of joy, but I just say comparison is a thief. It's just a thief of your own experience, where you are in life, what you want to get out of life. So if you're doing the comparison game, you just say comparison is a thief. I'm not playing that game. There's people have that awesome skills and I have some too, but they might not be the same. It's okay. And then you get into that, I'm not going to try unless it's perfect. Then you say, no, no, no. Perfect is the enemy of good. I'm going to try anyway. And then I'm going to notice if I start procrastinating, doing something I can control, I'm going to step out of my comfort zone into things I can't control and just try. And I'm going to let my brain reframe itself in the present moment in my conscious thoughts and my intentions of moving forward in some way. And if you can do that, if you can manage those three big, trifecta of distraction, we'd be so powerful. It'd be so, so powerful to move towards our goals in ways that help us feel confident, not cocky or false confidence. Like, I can do everything, but like, I'm going to try. I'm going to move forward. I believe that I can. And your identity starts to switch as I'm a person who can try. I'm a person who's willing to do. I'm a person that's consistent. I'm a person that doesn't give up. And do you see how then that changes your identity?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, it can be turned into a beautiful cycle.
Why don't you talk about the cycle, the positive cycle of consistency, because it's got 5 parts that you walk people through. A friend of mine just sent me an early picture. Thank you, Amy. Thank you for sending me the Schwarzenegger picture. Sent me a Schwarzenegger picture for like before. And I'm looking at it now. I can't share my screen, but I'm looking at it now. And I'm thinking, oh, he followed Kari Knutson's positive cycle of consistency, because this picture of this young Schwarzenegger ain't even close. And I thought about this, and I thought, what did he have to do? What did he have to do to become who he wanted to become? So walk us through
Yeah. Let me pull it up again so I say it correctly.
Consistency, intention, confidence, resilience, and identity. Because I think now I'm talking about bodybuilding because, you know, I'm going through the cycle myself and I'm battling my own demons about that. But it is the little wins. I don't care if it's learning how to make grandma's delicious meatball and spaghetti recipe, or it's simply getting up today and taking one action on behalf of yourself. So walk us through it.
Sure. And all your examples are so beautiful. And it starts with the intention. I want to do this thing. I want to achieve this goal. But sometimes for us too, it's good to say, Matt, sometimes the goal is like, I think about all the people who've been laid off or lost their jobs, have been looking jobs for months and months and months. And people saying, have you done LinkedIn? Have you done this networking? Like, I've done everything. And they start to feel so defeated. And I think that idea of like my intention is sometimes it's just to keep going, just to try another day, right? Just to like show up again and not let my worthiness thoughts get in the way and believe there's something better, like keep my belief strong. So, but the idea like, can I have some intention? Then can I be consistent around doing something for that intention? And your idea with the bodybuilding thing is so good, like how we don't see results sometimes, but you have to go to the gym multiple times to get the results, right? But is the goal showing off your biceps, or is the goal like I went to the gym consistently for 4 times a week for this entire month? Wow. That's amazing, right? Like, so when we think about what we're thinking about, what we're celebrating, so that consistency towards the goal, or like, I unpacked a box today and I'll pack another one tomorrow, right? Like, whatever the little thing is that gets you towards the other thing, can I be consistent? Because sometimes we have intentions and we forget, or we can't be consistent. So we like do something really great for a while, then it falls off, right? So the consistency piece, don't ignore that, because we have the intention, and then can we be consistent towards it? And then what I say after that is, if you could be consistent, let yourself feel that confidence that's being built through your consistency. Let yourself feel that confidence then to try different things or to switch things or whatever. But become the confidence comes from how you are starting to see your own wins. And sometimes it's personal. Sometimes nobody knows why we're doing a thing. It's our own little thing. So it's not like you're shouting it out to the world. Sometimes it's your thing. I'm doing this because it's important to me. Or it's emotional. I want to feel a certain way. So I'm working on any number of things. Right. And again, you know how you talk about ping pong, and ping pong is a thing for you? When you think about the metaphor of ping pong for you, your ping pong is someone else's like, I'm going to go get my passport and book that ticket I've always wanted to take. For other people, their thing that they want to do that nobody understands why they want to do it just because is they want to take a pottery class because they've always dreamed of making a pot, right? Like it's not the thing itself. It could be pottery, it could be traveling around the country, it could be making a pot. It could be anything. It's not the thing. It's the fact we want to do the thing for whatever reason. That's why sometimes it's okay not to tell people why you're excited about this thing, because why you want to do that. That's exciting to you. What is that for? What good is that? What does that do in the world? Who cares about that? And then you get all these people saying, who cares? And your little dream is like, well, I do. I like this thing. And then you have to spend so much time protecting it. You can't work on it. And this is making me think too. I made fun of my dad so much for being a square dancer. I made so much fun of him. I'm like, Dad, what are you doing in square? Like, how hard can it be? Or like, why do you care about? I just remember I kept thinking about who cares about square dance? I was a kid. I was like, square dance. And the funny thing of seeing him like when I finally went to go see him, and he would study, Dr. Pat, he would study square dancing. He had notebooks and he went to class to study moves and the calls, and I would just make fun like, you need help studying for your square dance class, Dad? You need me to quiz you on a do-si-do? You need to, I would just be so irreverent. And he'd be like, nope, I'm all good, honey. Nope. I mean, he would just float above my criticism and everyone else because he didn't care. He did it for the sheer joy. When I saw him out there on the dance floor, the sheer joy of dancing, being with other people, learning a really hard skill. I got a real good lesson in how square dancing was when I went to go see him. It's difficult, right? Learning a hard skill, doing something other people can't do just for the sheer joy of learning that skill and doing that thing in a way that you feel proud. So I don't care what it is that you're seeking. It's not the thing that is important. It's the journey of how I get there.
Yeah.
And it might just be important to you. So leave it there so you don't have to defend it, to the rest of the world. And then once you do that, you can build resiliency when people start to like criticize you or things don't go well. Or like you said, you got a ping pong injury, right? Or the thing doesn't go as planned or whatever the thing happens. We have to have resiliency to keep going because it's never going to go as planned. Never, never, never in the history of time has someone said, I have a goal and then I just achieved it. No, I haven't met one person, so let me know if you're that person. But I've people like, well, I thought I was going to do this, and I took 2 steps forward, then 1 step back, then this happened, then this didn't happen, but amazingly this happened. Then I tried this, and we get where we wanted to go, but it looks so different. And then our identity, that's the last piece of it. We start to become a person who has done this thing. We start to become the person who doesn't give up, the person who thinks of themselves in a different way, right? And that's how you shift your identity. Who am I becoming, not what am I achieving?
Yeah.
And I think that is where we feel real growth.
I know, kidding. Look, I want to talk about something real quick. I've been trying to explain to Linda why plants are important to have in my office. So I've stopped trying because I can't. But the show explains it. Plants represent small wins. They do. You take a little plant and you watch it, right? And it grows. It doesn't go from a little plant to a giant plant overnight. But I watched the plants that I left behind grow.
Mm-hmm.
To my best friend, they're just plants. I had too many. I had a rubber tree plant that was 8 foot tall and I let it go. But it wasn't always 8 foot tall. I had other plants that I watched grow. So here's the kicker about ping pong. I take so much teasing about it. I'm called Ping Pong Patty, by the way. So much teasing about it until now. Timothy Chalamet and the movie Marty Supreme. Now I'm getting emails from people that are asking me if I coach the sport. Thank you. Timothy Chalamet just won a Golden Globe, won the Critics' Choice Award for the role he played as Marty, Marty Reichman.
Right.
And then he just won a Golden Globe. He beat everybody. He beat all these people in these irreverent movies and Leonardo DiCaprio and la 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 la. And he played a ping pong player.
That's right. You're going to get your street cred now. Now you're going to get right. But that's like staying the course because you don't care if people like it or not, if they support it or not. Right. And now look at somebody else's like, oh, now ping pong's not a thing. Right. But you see the course that it wasn't. And the whole thing is like, why do you care about it? It doesn't matter the why. It's that you care about it. Like it's something that's important to you. Right. And like it's beautiful too that you can just say like I just rose above it. Like you can give me a hard time and I'm still gonna do my thing. Right. And in life, how many times have you had to be like, we're gonna give me a hard time, world, society, other people's opinions, what I'm supposed to do, all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and I'm still solid about what I want to do. I think of all those people who would never make music if they were told like, oh, what are you gonna do? Be a musician? I think about people who told me when I majored in psychology, what are you gonna do with that degree? Ask people if they want fries with their meal. Like I had so many people say things like that to me. Can't you get a real degree? Like, this is a real
That's
degree.
what they say to me now. Like when I first started this 23 years ago, they're like, what you gotta get a real job, girl. You
Yeah.
gotta go get a real job because what are you doing? Talking into a microphone and paying millions of dollars to be like on what? And you're doing this thing on the internet. Now we know what it's called, podcasting. And and but we can protect ourselves against it. We
Yes. And you have to
can.
keep those.
Yeah.
That
So
becomes you part of, again, when you get the reach your goal, it becomes part of your identity. I'm a person that can do things that interest me without needing the approval of others. I'm a person that cannot compare myself to what other people are doing and appreciate this is what I like, this is what you like. Okay. I'm a person who can think about, like you said, I'm going to be a person who takes some time in the beginning of my day to reframe
yeah,
and focus on my mental health for a little bit and my spirituality
yeah,
or uplifting myself so that I can go about the rest of my day. I'm going to take the time to do that. And other people
yeah.
go, how can you take the time? And you're being lazy. We got to get to work. You're like, well, this is me working. This is me.
So
Like all those
this
opinions,
is me
those
working.
ideas.
So here's what I'm going to leave everybody with, and I want you to share your personal message. I get asked, why do I talk about ping pong so much? Because I've never shared the backstory, and I don't have time to do the whole thing. But I grew up learning different. I'm actually on the autism scale of something very unique in that arena. I don't show up as that unless you know me, but I see images instead of words. But the minute that I hit a ping pong paddle, all of the noise, all of the chatter stopped. Right? People that have ADD, ADHD, we now know that ping pong helps dementia and Alzheimer's. So for somebody like me, my draw to the sport is more than just my love of it. My draw to it is it changes my entire inner wiring on any given day. Now, outside of that, we have to learn to move beyond what other people think about us. Thank you for today's show, because it is hard to really recognize and honor the small wins when it seems like society, the world, your parents, everybody is against you. Kari, give out your website and what's your personal message? What do you want to leave us with today?
Yes. So again, my website is knutsonspeaks.com and you can see it on the screen, knutsonspeaks.com, and Instagram, Facebook, my website, LinkedIn, I'm all there. And what I wanted to leave as my closing message today is this idea around, if you can think about achievement and like, what do I want to achieve is one thing. And we're very much taught to that, to think about it. What do I want to do? What's your goal? What's my SMART goal? What's my plan? What's your plan? What are you going to do? Versus like, who am I becoming? Then you can really appreciate the journey of becoming as you reach your goal. I think it's important that we have goals. Like, what am I striving for? What am I? It's good for your brain to like frame. I want this degree. I want this much money I make. I want to have this experience. I want to be in this kind of relationship. I want to love someone in this kind of way. Whatever it is, the thing that you want. I want to play ping pong with gusto, right? Like whatever it is, the idea is, who am I becoming versus what am I achieving? And flipping the script of like, in my achievements, I can still achieve a lot of things if I recognize along the way that if I use my consistency to keep clear, my intention is here and I'm going to keep consistent on it. And then if I can wrestle with, comparison's going to come up, imposter syndrome is going to come up, procrastination is going to come up, and all the things that are going to like come up and they get in my way. If I can overtly recognize that instead of subconsciously deal with them, if I can think about how these things are coming up, I can be in the driver's seat. I can say with overt thought, not overt thought, right? My overt thoughts like, I know, oh, I see this coming up for me. I see what just happened. And then the idea too is like, if you can celebrate everything along the way, everything's a win. Everything's a win. The fact that you went to the gym versus that you didn't. The fact that you saved a little bit of money versus spent it. The fact that you practiced your clarinet versus watched another episode of some TV show, right? Whatever the thing is, that's the win. And recognizing that builds confidence for the next thing where you need resilience to be able to achieve the thing. So again, if you think about this pattern and you think, oh, who am I becoming along the way? To me, that's way more exciting than waiting till the end of like you say, graduation day is amazing. It's awesome. And it's one day, but the 4 years you spent to graduate college was a whole experience. Who did you become along the way? And not waiting to celebrate till the end makes it so much better. And it gives you really, to me, not only confidence, but energy to move forward. So you don't give up the first time things get tough. You don't give up the first time your schedule changes, or something's difficult, or things didn't work out as planned, or you get told no, or you blow your budget, or whatever the thing is. It's not the thing, it's how you respond to the thing. And so if you say, I'm going to celebrate everything, everything counts, I'm not going to compare myself to other people. I know why I'm doing it. If it's private, I'm going to protect those things that I care about. And I'm going to think about whom I'm becoming in addition to what am I achieving, and not have one or the other.
I love it. Kari Knutson, for those of you out there, last comment on ping pong. Marty Reisman was a character in the sport. And I will say this to you all. The Marty in the film, this film is very loosely based on his life. And so I just want to say that there's a lot of shenanigans that goes on. But after all, it is Hollywood and it is entertainment. And no matter what you might think of this film or something else in your life, you have the right to become the person you are meant to be. Follow Kari Knutson's guidance. And let's make that happen this year. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
You have been listening to Get Big Out Loud Radio, where we explore the complex, funny, and beautiful ride of life with me, Kari Knutson, joining Dr. Pat live every second Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. I will help you to know which thoughts are keeping you small in order for you to get big. Get big and live your life out loud. For more information, visit KnutsonSpeaks.com.